Hey, it's JC14241 once again with another album review, and today we're going to be talking about the new album from Shinedown, and that is Attention, Attention. And quite frankly, the title is not on the actual cover, instead it's on the spine of it, or whatever you would call that. But the cover is definitely one that you would not miss in a music store. It just pops right out with a freaking yellow and black exclamation point. But their last album was released in 2015, and that was Threat to Survival, and I gotta say, as soon as we start off this review, that this was totally worth buying more than that one, just because it did keep a lot of their hard rock sound that they've gone with throughout their entire career and stayed in a lot of aggression and had variety still. I think Threat to Survival is them trying a more calm setting throughout many of their songs and not really being aggressive in many cases. Let's go ahead and start this off by talking about the first couple of tracks on this album. Track 1 is The Entrance, and track 2 is the lead single, which was Devil. Now, whenever Devil came out, it was actually part of a music video that The Entrance was also in, and I wasn't even expecting The Entrance to be, put together on the album. I thought it was just something that they threw in for the music video, but The Entrance is, of course, the intro, and you can tell just from the title and everything, but he actually enters the room, walks across, takes a seat, a big breath, and then we get into Devil, which has some really great drums to kick it off. It's just a really great kick, alongside a really cool guitar riff. And speaking of the guitar riff, I mean, all throughout this track, the guitars are just really great. They provide a powerful punch, especially whenever you get to the chorus, which has some really nice build-up with the organ and the church choir in between the verses. But the thing that I feel like drags this song down the most for me personally is just the song meaning. Is something I've heard many times before, the whole inner demons thing and confronting them to change yourself for the greater good, which I guess is something that we don't get from Breaking Venom. It's always just talking about the inner demons, never actually changing them, I suppose. But the thing that I found interesting is that this lead single was very much like Cut the Cord of Threat to Survival in 2015. It has that same menacingly melodic style to it. Though I really liked Cut the Cord at the time, and I was kind of disappointed that this one was so similar to it, I really can't decide which one I like more, to be honest. They're both really great songs.
There are no mistakes, except what you create. You need to know your place, 'cause it's about to get heavy. It's about to be on. Yeah, bang is laying napalm.
Track 3 on this album is Black Soul, and this is by far my favorite song on the entire album. It is such an easy decision whenever it comes to this one, just because they lay the groundwork with this distorted piano in the very beginning, and that stays there all throughout. And at first you're like, is this some kind of poppy track with just a little attitude? But yeah, that piano right there provides attitude. But once the guitar chords come in, which are just so powerful, and Brent Smith's vocal performance is just fantastic once you get to the chorus especially, you can really start to just feel this amazing energy as the song really reaches a point about being aware of negativity in yourself and having to listen to other people call it out with, not just fighting, just actually accepting it so you know that you can deal with it. But whenever you get to the second verses, that's where they start changing things up, and they just keep adding more things onto their instrumentation, and then they really have a great choice here with things like the Rage Against the Machine-esque bass line and a really classy guitar solo that I really like grooving to.
Wake up! Pull yourself together, speak up! 'Cause no one heard your name, hero! It's better late than never.
The fourth track on this album is the title track, and that is, of course, Attention, Attention. You'd kind of expect this to be the one that represents the album best, but in all reality, it's just the song purpose that this thing is running on. It doesn't have enough creativity in its guitar riff, and that really drags the song down. It's kind of the basic quarter notes or eighth notes, the just repetitive same thing over and over again. And whenever you get to the chorus, it's got a nice hook and some hi-hats in the background that really make it stand out, and I can't say that about many other rock songs, so it's got me on there. But the song meaning is really strong here. I feel like they could have done more with it, and that is just him saying that he feels he's losing his mind, that the world is just biased and against him. He feels like he's looking at the world and he's seeing the societal corruption as they're so contrived to be against him in some places where it makes it more difficult than it needs to be.
Nothing about me is ordinary. My friends all say I'm gone crazy. I don't hear a word that they say, 'cause the voices in my head are legendary.
Track number 5 is Kill Your Conscience. That might seem rather dark, but it sure as hell ain't deep. Not with the musicality that they go for in this track from the start, which has this shitty keyboard it triggers me because it's so freaking artificial. I guess it's supposed to be sweet torture of some kind as it escalates to the organic drums, the guitars, the vocal performance from Brent Smith, which is always really passionate. At the same time, I just feel like they're emulating Imagine Dragons at this point. They're not even just simply sounding like them. On Threat to Survival, that's what they were doing. But at this point, they're even using the sounds and the way that they choose their instrumentation. It just really does get on my nerves. And throughout the verses, it's not... I'm not saying that it wasn't really creative, it's just rather basic, but I see why it had to be that way, just because of it needing to be anthemic as it has that build up to the chorus. Now the chorus doesn't really stand by the freaking build up that you get during those verses. I gotta say that much. I feel like the verses build up and then you get there and it's just kind of anticlimactic. Now the lyricism here is really strong all throughout, except for the very beginning where Brent Smith says,
Beast mode.
since when did Shinedown use a phrase like that? Like, that's so immature and unprofessional. Like, golly, this is so freaking internet kiss ass whatever. But it's a pretty good song. I'll give it that. I bought the album. I had to like this song a little bit, right? Yeah, I did. And I can stand by the song purpose here, like what its overall meaning is. The peer pressure in society and just succumbing to the other way people do things and feeling like he's giving in to not wanting to be himself anymore.
Back for more of what you love, back for more of what you hate. You can't stop, 'cause you're already too late. So you kill your conscience, cry yourself to sleep. Kill your conscience, better you than me.
The 6th track on this album is Pyro. You'd figure this would be one of my favorite tracks on the album, but as a matter of fact, it's one of my least favorites. And it has nothing to do with the songwriting whatsoever. They did a great job in choice of instrumentation, what the song is about, how much effort is put into just simply singing and everything. But from the very beginning, it's got this flawless heavy metal instrumentation that actually covers up the vocal performance. And I don't want them to lose that flawless heavy metal instrumentation, of course. I just want to be able to hear the words that they're singing a lot more. I can't really interpret what's being sung, and I have to go through the lyric book to find out. And the lyric book sucks because it's got all these freaking slashes and it just goes in lines. It doesn't actually have it in the stanzas that you would actually expect whenever reading other lyric books. So it's a true struggle listening to the song. Except whenever you get to the chorus. Whenever you get to the chorus, the vocals are really there and you can hear what's being said and it's something easy to sing along. And they have these calms before the chorus as well as that you can actually interpret what's being said. It drives me crazy whenever I want to know what this entire song is about and I want to be able to sing along to the whole thing, but I can only sing along to parts of it and I simply can't learn the damn thing because the whole freaking thing is covered up. But at the same time, if that wasn't a problem, then this would be one of my favorite songs on the album. I can tell you this much, it runs off of this miserable energy, and it really fascinates me because while it's running off of that kind of negative feeling and it's being so emo, I suppose, it's actually supposed to be inspirational and meant to find yourself approaching someone who just wants to watch the world burn, even someone that you're really close to, like family member, making it even more difficult.
When your mama is a burnout, and your daddy is a pyro. 'Cause they just wanna light it on fire, and they just wanna let it all burn, and they just wanna light it on fire.
Track 7 is Monsters, and this one shares some really strong similarities to Devil, just because that one was him singing about his inner demons and preparing to face them throughout the album. Whenever you get to this one, it's about his inner monsters and trying to convince other people that his are real. I guess he's trying to insist that theirs aren't and they don't have his problems. I mean, they can say that much, but I don't know if he's trying to insist that they don't have problems of their own at the same time. So it's a very self-centered chorus, but throughout the verses in the song, there is a lot of sarcasm, and I like the attitude he has in there. The guitar variation throughout the song is something that I'm really into with, the acoustic and then the regular electronic guitar, which just provides a lot of punch to it. And of course, his voice is always providing a great effort, and it's just really passionate in his singing. And then the only thing I really can't take away instrumentally or is just the performance would probably be the drums. I feel like there's nothing unique about them.
Don't get angry, don't discourage. Take a shot of liquid courage. 'Cause my monsters are real, and they're trained how to kill. And there's no coming back, and they just laugh at how I feel.
Track 8 is DARKSIDE, and that is another one of my big favorites on the album. And one of the main reasons why is because of its musical diversity, having so many tempo changes. It kind of goes back and forth between split time, and in the slower parts, it's got banjo and harmonica, and then it gets faster again whenever it hits split time, and it's got the regular guitar and drums. Now, even those guitar and drums have some really good riffs and good rhythms to them, and the melodies that you have throughout this song altogether provide a really dance-type feel. And whenever it gets faster again, it's something that you could probably mosh to. I think during an interlude, the guitar has a bit of a high part that can be considered maybe just a regular solo, but all in all, it's something really enjoyable to listen to instrumentally. But the song meaning behind this one is what makes it even more enjoyable, because it playfully goes on to this meaning of, you know, trying to get into other people's shoes and just seeing the world through their eyes, and not seeing it in your happy place all the time.
The symptoms are contagious, so please be advised. So welcome to the dark side.
Creatures is track 9 on this album, and this is another one of my favorites. Though it's not one of my bigger favorites, I can say that it lets me know that I like the second half of the album more than the first, just because the only track that held to me dearly in the first half was Black Soul, which is my favorite on the album. But with this song in particular, it has this mindset to it in its lyricism that I find myself really attracted to, because it's something that I happen to live by. It really does contrast Kill Your Conscience, which was track 5, by saying that we shouldn't be allowing society to make decisions for us and, you know, making our decisions based on what they do. It's not so systematic, and we can just, you know, have our own passions and desires to inspire how we live. But whenever you go into the musicality of this one, it is pretty darn good and satisfying, with the melodies that the symphonies and even the vocal performance, which is always good, provide. And then you get into the drums, which are really good in this song, which is something I can say that is off in other places on this album. The drum performance on this track is probably one of the best overall. But the guitar chords are really darn good and really do fulfill the energy the song is trying to put off. The only thing that I can take away from this song is that the chorus seems to be a bit too repetitive as the song goes. It's sung too many times, and it probably needed more lyrics instead of them repeating the same thing over and over again.
We're chasing the rabbit like creatures of habit, and no one else knows where we're coming from. And nothing's ever gonna change, so I ain't gonna run away. There's no need to panic.
The 10th track on this album is Evolve, and this is probably another one of my least favorites here, just because it lacks a basic progression that you would need in musicality. It starts out at such a loud point, and then whenever you go through the first rhythms and verses, it's meant to build up this great chorus. Whenever you get to that chorus, I will say that chorus is good, but it's not as effective as it needs to be with it starting out at such a loud point. I feel like if they had start off the song at a much lower volume and then let the verses be the medium point, and then, you know, go low, medium, high, then it would have been more enjoyable. But I guess that's just me. And even then, the song purpose, I think this is something a lot of people could agree on. It's reiterated amongst what we've had on this album about how people need to change themselves to fit in with the rest of the world, because the world's changing. You can't just stay the same and expect things to work well for you. And then he's chanting, "Evolve, evolve." That is so cheesy, and that kind of turns me away. So that's 2 points where I just get off on the song not very well. But if there's one thing I can take away from the song that I really like, it's this bridge that they have, which has this violin doing some accidentals here and there, and I think that's really providing a nice attitude.
In a room full of mirrors, I figured it out. I had to take leave of my senses to draw my own conclusion. Had to swing for the fences.
Track 11 is Get Up, and this one is a pop rock piano ballad of sorts. So you can paraphrase that and basically figure out that it is the worst song on the album. It really is. Oh my goodness, we have all these pop influences thrown in there that seem so out of place amidst all this hard rocking shit that we've had across this entire album. And even then, it's something that really doesn't have a strong meaning to it, because it's just basically meant to be inspirational and telling you to get up and move forward, change your life for the better. And it's kind of like What Are You Waiting For by Nickelback from 2014. And I kind of like that song more than this one, just because this one seems so out of place amongst all the music that Shinedown has made over the years. And golly, even the chorus is annoying, to be honest. It's very reminiscent of something by Sugar Ray from the 2000s. I would have to go looking it up, but I swear it was in a Scooby-Doo movie of some sort. But this one here, if there's anything positive I can say about it, it's probably the final chorus, which has a really nice build-up to it. And even then, whenever you get to the final chorus of a horrible song, you're happy, because you know that the song is almost over. final 3 songs on the album, and it's after the previous one that I can say that is as bad as it gets. From this point on, it's all pretty good. Track 12 is my second favorite song on the album, and that is Special. It is a genuine and very beautiful piano ballad that is not worth skipping over whatsoever, but before we talk about the great instrumentation and the awesome song meaning that it has, I just want to mention the fact that in the track listing, it's written in all lowercase letters, whilst everything else is in capital letters. And that does have something to do with the message that it's trying to provide about not living life to be better than everyone else, but as a matter of fact, being the best that you can be for yourself and for everyone else. And at the same time, it's also saying that you can't just think that you are special. If you want to be special, you have to do all those things to be special and do it for the world around you. And it's an artistic concept that I really admire. Meanwhile, the instrumentation is really great because of the piano, the acoustic guitar that accompanies the vocals, and also this keyboard effect that's in the background that is really freaking cool. And the vocal performance from Brent Smith is always really, really good. And whenever you get to a heart-wrenching meaning like this in the song, golly, man, it's a tearjerker if you're emotional, but I'm not emotional. I'm a fucking robot.
I'm not trying to rain on your parade, but you're not special. I'm not trying to bring you down. I'm not trying to sound so ineffectual, 'cause you're not special.
Track number 13 is The Human Radio, and this was the second single released before the album came out, and is also the theme song for the MX vs. ATV All Out Let's Play I started about a month ago. Now, this was my favorite of the 2 singles released just because this one has its ups and downs that give this dramatic style that I really like, and plus it's not that similar at all from Cut the Cord, to be honest, so that's another big reason why. But this one has those adrenaline-rushing power chords to start off the chorus. The chorus ends, and then you've got this interestingly weird robotic verse being sung about the human radio is playing your anthem. And then he says that we are the human radio, so I guess we are our own anthem? I don't know what the true message here, but it's obviously motivational for society. I can say that much about how if you want to change the world, it's up to you. You gotta get all motivated, do it! I don't know. I like the instrumentation throughout this song altogether. I like how that guitar solo in there, or maybe it's not a guitar solo, maybe it's more of like a keyboard solo, but it's just a really cool, fancy sound to it. It's kind of snazzy.
The human radio is playing your anthem.
The final song on this album is track 14, and that is Brilliant. And I'll tell you this much, this is one brilliant song. It is a fantastic ending to the album, hands down, with this positive energy that it happens to put off. It's got this pop-punk style that you usually don't get from Shinedown, more like maybe Green Day or Volbeat. Even though Volbeat is a metal band, they still have that same positive vibe to them, though. And it also reminds me of a song that came out by Red Sun Rising earlier this year called Veins. And the reason why is just because they both have that energy to them. Though I can't really decide which one I like more because they're both really close on it. I think I like this one's lyricism a lot more and the creativity behind them. It's very motivational. It beams in confidence, has this message saying that you don't be afraid to go out and make a difference in the world. And instead, how about you just be excited that you're being someone to actually do something like that. And from the very beginning of the song, I knew that it had a lot of potential because of this soft and melodic part that was in the intro, and then it came to a calm, and that amazing, just freaking amazing guitar riff that it started out with, and the drums come in, and it's just really fast, hard-hitting track. It's a great send-off for Shinedown's 2018 album, Attention, Attention. Before I go giving you guys the final score for this album right here that I actually bought, it was very much worth of the buy in my opinion, I want to take the time to thank you for watching and listening to me review this album and talk about all the music on it. It was a really great album overall, and I'm very satisfied that Shinedown came out with another one. It was better than Threat to Survival by quite a bit in my opinion. My final score is an 84%. The interesting thing about that one is that it's the same score as the previous album review that I did for A Perfect Circle's Eat the Elephant. Now, there are large differences that cause scores like this because theirs was more of an average throughout, whilst this one just had a lot of songs that I really, really freaking liked quite a bit. So that's the most I can say about that. But yeah, thanks Shinedown for taking all the time in the studio last year to put this together. You did a really great job. And we have more album reviews out on the way, like Five Finger Death Punch coming out this Friday. Then we've got Hoobastank in the next week, and I don't even know if I'm gonna even listen to that or if I'm even going to review it or whatever. But we also have an album out by Owl City on the very first day of June, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to be reviewing that. And that's actually going to be a long album review, so oh my god. Or the album's going to be long, so I can assume that the review's going to be long. But yeah, like I said, thanks for taking the time to watch and listen to the review. And if you want to check out some more reviews of this album, there are links down in the description below for ARTV, Justin Fringe, Rocking with Robbie, and I think there might have been one done by Rocked. I don't know, because he was, you know, doing interviews for other artists and stuff at the time. But still, I'll give you as many links as I can to other people's opinions, because I am very into other people's opinions on music that I like. But yeah, that's about it. See you next time. That's that. And album review over.
Let me clear my